My goodness, life can be a trip. Sometimes it feels like a roller coaster ride and the seatbelt got undone. I'm sure you can relate to that. So I wanted to spend today talking about creating beautiful moments in your life, regardless of what you're going through. And it's something I learned years ago, and I am clearly given lots and lots of opportunities to practice. That's the most beautiful thing about conscious living is you can learn a concept, but the truth is to integrate that concept is going to be a lot of practice. I love waking up and proactively greeting the day with gratitude and expressing thankfulness for the opportunities that will be heading my way to help me become more conscious, to help me heal on a different level, and to allow me to integrate all the beautiful concepts that not only I learned, but I'm also teaching people all over the world. A very important thing that I wanted to talk about today was consciously choosing to create a moment. That means giving a moment awareness. It's giving a moment the meaning that will create what I want to experience inside. Allowing myself to focus as much as I can and reminding myself that I get to create the quality of my moment. Life is going to happen, but what I get to do with it, that is completely 100% an opportunity for me. I love being creative, and it's a very creative way to live my life. Of course, I have a lot of things that have happened in my life that have gone crazy, upside down, gone on fire, turned back upside down, and just kept rolling down the hill, right? But we all have these things that happen to us from time to time. And the question is, how do we get up? How do we reset ourselves? And how do we allow ourselves to realign back into the moment? We have to honor how things make us feel. That's a critical piece of the puzzle. So if we're afraid, if we're overwhelmed, if we're insecure, if we're jealous, we can't shove that underneath. We need to be able to give ourselves permission to really feel those things. But the thing is we don't want to get stuck in feeling those things. And we don't want to get stuck in it's almost like sludge. We don't want to get stuck in the sludge of that type of emotional process. We want to honor how we feel, but we also want to stop and reset in a positive, proactive place. Giving yourself permission to define how a moment is supporting you is a critical piece of the puzzle. So if I'm in traffic, for example, and I get frustrated, I'm going to give myself permission to really feel frustrated. I'm going to give myself permission to feel upset. I'm going to give myself permission to maybe feel afraid if I'm going to be late for something, whatever is going to go on, being uncomfortable with not being in control, whatever starts coming up. But then I'm going to take 5 slow, big, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm going to do 5 slow, big, deep breaths. Each breath I make a little slower and longer. Again. Slower and longer. Slower and longer. So the moment that's not in my control, I honor how it makes me feel by breathing and resetting slower and deeper for 5 slow, big, deep breaths. The first breath is more shallow, then it goes deeper, then it goes deeper, then it goes deeper. And then I ask this question: how is this moment supporting me? How is this delay supporting me? And I breathe in through the nose and I breathe out through the mouth. And I give myself permission to be mindful of how this moment is supporting me. So for me, what I do at that time is I become more present. I pay attention to the color of the car in front of me. I pay attention to the person in the car next to me. I pay attention to the leaves that are maybe around me on the trees. I pay attention to the clouds in the sky. I pay attention to maybe what my car smells like. I pay attention maybe to some music that I have going on in the speakers. I pull myself into the moment to become mindful of things that I notice. And I breathe in through the nose and I exhale out through the mouth. So I go from this place that feels stressed and tight and restricted. I honor how I feel with that. I give myself those slow, big, deep breaths. Now, of course, if I'm in a car, I'm not going to close my eyes unless I'm in standstill traffic, but I can still breathe slowly and hold it and exhale out and do it even more slowly with my next breath for 5 breaths with my eyes open, right? So I'm just saying, if I'm driving, I'm talking standstill traffic. If it's stop and go traffic, I'm not going to close my eyes. So I can still do my breathing. And then after that, I'm connecting to my senses that are around me. As I connect to the senses around me, my central nervous system starts to regulate into the moment in front of me. So instead of pushing, I'm breathing it in, and then I'm allowing my nervous system to be able to calm and reset. So how does that moment support me? It allows me to regulate into the moment, to take that moment that might bring that tight, restricted feeling and allow me to breathe and create unity with it, and then allow me to reset back in to my senses around me. And as I do that, I feel calm, I feel inspired, I feel relaxed, I feel content, I feel grateful, and I feel very grounded or present. So that moment that starts off as a yuck comes into the moment. If I'm in a long line and I wasn't expecting the long line at the grocery store, I can do the same exact thing. Slow breaths, slower with each breath, and then tuning into the moment. But the thing you want to remember is making sure you're first honoring how frustrated you are, how annoyed you are, whatever it is that happens to lead to that place. Asking yourself, what's the blessing or what's the gift? What is this going to be giving to me? Then for me, I do what we're talking about. And as I do that, what starts happening is my nervous system starts to regulate. So then if I go through that same exact thing, I'm not going to feel as stressed. I'm not going to feel as jarred. I'm not going to feel as overwhelmed because my body's starting to get used to, over time, working with unexpected moments to support my healing process. So see, most of us have had a lot of trauma in our lives where unexpected things went bad, intense. Nobody really talked us through them. Nobody really helped us connect that intensity. So a lot of us are kind of stuck in this, right? So then a lot of us, what happens is we either live mindlessly in our life and we just create an over busy schedule just because that's what we're used to doing, or we pretend we're in all kinds of control and are surprised when things constantly happen that aren't in our control. So in the moment, most negative things can become a very positive moment if you allow yourself to change gears and allow yourself to remember that you get to choose to define how a moment can and will impact you. So the next time you feel out of control or some change is happening in your schedule or something's going on that you weren't expecting, honor how you organically feel. Breathe into it with those slow, big, deep breaths for about 5 times, slower each breath, and then shift your focus on sensory things, what you see, what you hear, maybe what you taste, what you feel, right? What you smell. As you connect to your senses, you're going to notice you're not all anymore, that your body's more calm and relaxed because you're shifting your focus to something that's productive in the moment. That negative thing now becomes a positive. And when you do that with a negative becoming a positive, the more you keep working with that consistently, not pushing yourself to try to make it happen, but blending it all together like we're talking about, your central nervous system will regulate into the present moment and you will see things as they are. You're not in control. But if you default to the things that you're not in control with, allowing yourself to hit this awesome place in your healing journey and that it's helping you, you can see where there's going to be less resistance. Now, a glitch with a lot of the stuff that creates stress for us, it's because we're overscheduled. And that's really something that's very serious. If I'm in traffic and I'm needing to breathe and do this work, the probability is I've overbooked myself. That's also something we do through a point of inflammatory response or trauma in the type of work I do as a medical intuitive. So that's why you hear me talking a lot about creating space for yourself. Make sure you're not overbooking yourself so that you can organically be in tune with life and feel like you're in harmony with what's going on in life. And if you don't feel like you're in harmony, this is how you get into harmony, is by honoring how you feel, by taking those 5 big deep breaths slower each time you breathe, and then shifting it over into what are the gifts in this moment. So we look at the senses of the sky, and outside I see birds, and I see a squirrel right now that's going toward my fruit tree, and that's not making me happy. So I'm just going to breathe through that, right? But I see my fruit trees. I'm so happy I see oranges on my trees, and I see a fire pit, and it reminds me of beautiful moments. So the more that I can keep regulating and connecting into the moment, I'm focusing on shifting my focus into the positive, because every moment is full of so many beautiful, positive things if we give ourselves permission to explore the gifts in the moment when things aren't working out the way we want. We reconnect, we own it, we realign with the moment in front of us instead of living in this little box. That little box isn't good for our physical heart or our gut or our nervous system or our overall health. We're here to enjoy our life. And there's lots of moments that try to steal the joy it's not that they try to steal the joy, we give our joy so easily away. My goodness, let's learn to hold on to our joy and learn how to focus on that. Perhaps we'll work on that next month. That might be a very good subject for June. All right. Fantastic to connect with you all today.